Hey guys, welcome back. This is Delkeep Tutorials here, and thank you very much for watching this tutorial and taking some time off of your day to watch this tutorial. In today's tutorial, we're going to be learning to model a rugby ball or an American football, as you guys prefer to call it. So it's going to be pretty simple. So let's just get started with it. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go to my render settings and change it to 1280 by 720. Okay, and then the first thing we want to do is we want to go and grab a sphere, and I'm going to go and to the display options and choose ground shading lines. Okay, just going to set this kind of properly over here. Go to Windows. I'm going to change this mode to standard. So customization. Startup standard. Okay, that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and make this editable by pressing C on the keyboard. And after making this editable, we are going to go to the coordinates. I'm going to set the Y size over here to 1.4. Okay. The next thing we want to do is we're going to go and choose a deformer. So I'm going to be using the FFD deformer, and you want to make the FFD deformer a child of the sphere. And then if you're using R14 and above, you're going to have an option called fit to parent. So now if you click on that button, it exactly fits it to the dimensions of the object. So here on the grid bars, I'm going to set 4 on the X, 5 on the Y, and 4 on the Z. Now I'm going to go into the front view by pressing F4, and I'm going to choose the rectangular selection tool and go to the points mode. And I'm going to deselect only select visible elements. And I'm going to select this top set of points and shift select the bottom set of points. And I'm going to click on this Y button over here, our Y axis, which makes sure that when I scale it, it does not affect the Y position. So I'm going to press T on my keyboard to get the scale tool, and I'm just going to click and Control Z. Okay, and do it again. Okay, and then I'm just going to go and click and drag. Okay, so probably I'm going to set this to 80 and 80 on the size over here, and then we're going to select these two sets of points, and I'm going to press T, and I'm going to select the Y axis, and I'm just going to drag that up. So I'm going to set this to probably 150. So if we go back to perspective view and see what we have, if I just hide the FFD deformer, we see we have this nice rugby ball shape, pretty good. And I'm going to go to the sphere, I'm going to right click and choose current state object, and we can delete this. Now what we have here is an object which is already deformed. Perfect. Okay, so once we have this set here, what we're going to do is we are going to go into our front view, and I'm going to go select my rectangular selection again, and I'm going to select a bunch of points on the leftmost side. So if I go here and select all these set of points, so if I zoom in over here, or probably what we can do is select the polygons. So rectangle selection, and you can just hold down shift and select these bunch of points, these polygons, and we need to make sure that we don't select the unnecessary ones. So I'm going to go to the live selection and uncheck only select visible elements and hold down control so that we deselect the unwanted polygons. So let's go up and see if we have the right number. Perfect. Now what we want to do is we want to right click and choose split, and we're going to hit delete. So what happens now is that we have two separate objects. So I'm going to call this one left, and I'm going to call the bottom one right. Go back to a perspective view by pressing F1. And now what we want to do is we want to go and press Control A. We want to select the left one. Click on the viewport over here, press Control A. That selects all the polygons on the left hand side. And after which we're going to go right click and choose extrude, and I'm going to uncheck create caps, and I'm going to give an offset of 1.5. or probably let's set that to like 5. Okay, and let's select the right one, press Ctrl A, click D on the keyboard, and give an offset of 5 and click enter. So now we have something that looks like this. Now to give it the effect of a rugby ball, we want to go and choose the subdivision surface, and we want to drag both of these inside the subdivision surface. Now we can see that it is giving the smoothness only to the left hand side. So in order to change that, we want to select these both and press Alt G, which groups them into a null. And now we see we have this nice smooth edge which kind of looks like a rugby ball. Fantastic, isn't it? Okay, so now since this is done, we can go and put in the laces for the football. So how are we going to do that? Pretty simple. Now we're going to select the left side here, and we want to actually remove these, uncheck the subdivision surface. We want to hide the right side of the object, and we want to go and select this left one and go into the polygon mode, and we're going to select a few polygons. Okay, so let's see. So I'm going to go into my live selection, make sure my radius is set to like 3, so I can select even more, easily. So I'm going to select this one over here. Okay, I need to make sure only select visible elements is ticked on. So only elements which are visible will be selected. So I'm going to click on this one, hold down Shift 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Okay, actually we want to go and select the edges, so that would be better. So 1, 2, 3, 4, hold down Shift 4, 5, and 6. Okay, now a cool feature is we're going to go to mesh, let's see, commands, and choose edge to spline. So now that gives us a spline over here, and we're going to take the spline and we're going to drag it out, and we're going to go back into our perspective view, and then we want to go and just drag this out slightly, so say -5, and here we're going to go set the type to Bezier, and we're going to set the intermediate points to natural. So now we have this smooth curvy edge. Okay, and then we're going to go into our right view, or we can probably let's choose the right view by pressing F3, and we're going to go into the points mode, and we're going to add some points. So I'm going to go and choose create point, and I'm going to add one right here near the second point, and last one right here below the second point from the bottom. And then I'm going to go select the first point, so I'm going to set the radius back of this to 10. I'm going to select this point, and I'm just going to take and move it down like so, and I'm going to right click and choose the interpolation to hard, and I'm just going to bring it in like that, and I'm going to select this point as well, right click, interpolation hard, and I'm just going to move it in like that. Now if we go back to our perspective view and switch on the right as well, we can see that it's kind of fitting inside. That is looking pretty cool, I must say. If you want, we can take it and shove it in a little bit more, so probably -4 or probably -3. I mean, it's all up to yours. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to go and grab a rectangle spline. So I'm going to set the width of this to 15, height 6, and probably the rounding I'm going to set that to 2, and I'm just going to drag it out so that you guys can see it. Okay, and press F4 so we go into perspective view. Okay, and I think this is a little bit too small, so I'm going to probably set the width to 30, height to 12, and the radius to 4. Okay, I'll set this to 15. I think 12 would be good. Okay, anyway, we can change that later. I'm going to set the radius of this to 5. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make this, okay, let's set it to 4 actually. So I'm going to make this editable, and after making it editable, I'm going to select these bottom 4 points. I'm going to go right click, and I'm going to choose disconnect, and then we're just going to hit delete. So now we have only this arch kind of a thing. Okay, and I'm going to select these bottom 2 points and hit T on my keyboard, and I'm just going to scale this a little bit in. Okay, just like that. I think that's a little bit too much, so I'm just going to drag it a little bit. Okay, that looks cool. So next thing, let's go back to our perspective view, and we have this. And now what we want to do is we want to go and grab a cloner object. We want to drag in this rectangle inside the cloner object. So now if let's hide the null, so we have something that's looking like this, and I'm going to select the cloner, go to MoGraph effector and choose a spline effector. Okay, and then we want to go to the spline effector, and there is an option called spline. So we want to take this left spline, so I'm just going to call this the lace. Okay, I'm just going to call this the main spline, and I'm going to call this rectangle the hooks. I don't know. So I'm going to go to the spline effector and drop this main spline on. So now what we can see here is that we have these splines that are cloned on to the spline effector. So if I just turn back the null on, see we have something that looks like this, but it is not oriented in the right way. So to change that, I'm going to go into the parameter over here, and I'm going to go to the banking. I'm going to set that to 90. So now we see that it's facing the other way. So if I set this to -90, we have it in the right orientation. And I can actually go to the cloner, and I'm going to set the Y of this to 20 and increase the count to say probably like 8. Okay, that looks fantastic. So now let's give some geometry to these splines. So I'm going to go and grab a new rectangle spline, and I'm going to set the width of this to 5 and the height to 3 and give it a rounding radius of 1. You can change that later. And after that, I am going to go and grab a sweep NURBS, and I'm going to drop in the rectangle first, which is going to be our profile, and then I'm going to drop in the cloner. Okay, now if I just hide one of them, we see that we have only this that is affecting, but it's not affecting everything. So how do we fix that? So I think we do render instances or fix clone, or probably let's make this thing editable, and then let's zoom back, and we can select all of this, right click, choose connect objects plus delete, and then we can drag this in, and there we go. We have it cloned all over. Okay, that is awesome. You can see here there's this one part of spline that is going inside, but that's not going to be a problem because it won't be seen. Now a small amount of changes over here. So in the sweep, I'm going to click this button which gives us the details, and I'm going to set the from value to 0. So now it looks more cool. Okay, so now let's turn back this left on and see what we have. Now a lot of things we can do to make this look better. So in the rectangle, I'm going to go probably set the width of this to say 10. Okay, and under the sweep over here, let's see, caps, rounding, Fong, let's see, it's not quite even. So I kind of ran into a small problem, and what I just did is I kept undoing till the point where I have the cloner with the hooks. So one thing we want to do is under the cloner tab, okay, the spline tab over here, you want to make sure that we have all the 8 splines in the position that we need. So probably in the start over here, if I start increasing it to, I think we can set that to 0. And if I come down here to the end and start reducing it, okay, you see what's happening. So I'm just going to go and change the offset. So say like that. So if I go to my front view, so let's go to my right view, we can get a better look, and we can see that. and probably set the offset down to, I don't know, let's say set that to probably 13, and I think that's 100, and that looks brilliant. We can actually bring down the end. So if I go back over here, okay, so let's go here and start increasing this a bit up. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and then let's just make a copy of this cloner just in case, and we can hide that as backup. And then let's make this thing editable. Right click, let's choose current state to object. Okay, that's not gonna work, so we're gonna select all this, right click, connect objects plus delete. And now we have the sweep, but is it in the right orientation? So to fix that, I'm going to go and set this to 0 to 180, and boom, we have perfect alignment, and that looks amazing. And I'm going to go to the sweep over here and say the rectangle. I'm just going to set the width of this to 5 or 10. So I think let's set this to 7 or 8. Okay, 8 is a good number. Okay, and now we can put this thing back on. We can hide the main spline because we don't want to see it, and we can take the main spline and we can just move it in, or we can take the sweep itself and move it in. Okay, there we go, looking cool. And now what we want to do is we want to make the centerpiece. So let's go back to our front view and let's go and make a new rectangle. So I'm going to probably set this to 10 by 10, and then we can edit it over here. So we're going to set this to like 6, and we're going to increase the width like that, so probably 20, and 8 or 7 on the height. I'm going to check rounding, and I'm just going to set it to 1.5, and then I'm going to make this thing editable, and I'm going to go into the points mode, and I'm going to add a couple of cuts. So I'm going to go press K on my keyboard, and I'm going to drag a line which makes 2 points over here, and 1 over here, and 1 over here. And then I'm going to select these 2 points, press T on my keyboard, and I'm just going to scale these things in. And I think I'm going to select these 4 points and press T and scale it so it's a little bit more closer. And I'm just going to right click and choose chamfer, and I'm just going to chamfer it a little bit. It's probably around 0.7. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and grab another sweep. I'm going to drag this rectangle in first, and then I'm going to select the rectangle main spline, and I'm going to copy and drag that here. So now we see we have something that looks like this, which is not in the right orientation. So let's okay, so this is going to be the profile. So yeah, so we want this rectangle first, and under the sweep I'm going to go and change the from value to 0, so we have something that looks flat like that. And then the last thing we want to do is we want to take the sweep, and we just want to select, okay, let's actually Control Z that. We want to select the model tool, and we want to just push, oh my god, what's happening? Okay, we want to select the sweep, and we want to push it in. Okay, and if you want to make any changes, you could probably go and increase the size of the rectangle. So let's hide one side. Okay, and we can hold press scale it on the right side. Okay, it's looking much better, and done. There we go. Now if you want to do it on the right side, on the opposite side as well, what we can do is we can select these 2 planes, we can hit Alt G, and we can make a copy of that, and we can give it a rotation of probably 180 degrees, and we can see that it snaps, but we just need to move it make a little movement. So let's go into our top view. Let's go to the right view, and we can just push it in. Okay, so there we go. There is our cool rugby or American football. Let's push it in. Yeah, that's good. So now let's just quickly texture this thing, and we're good to go. So let's make a new material. We're going to call this brown, and under the color channel I'm going to set the brightness to 80. I'm going to go to texture and choose a fusion. Let's go into the fusion, and we're going to check use mask, and we're going to go and add 3 noise layers. So 1, 2, 3. So let's go into the first noise, and under the noise I'm going to select a tuple, and under the color over here I'm going to set this to 100, 55 and 30, and for the color 2 I'm going to be a little bit dark, so probably 80, 40 and 20. And let's go and select second noise, and I'm going to be using electric. I'm going to set the global scale to 500, and then I'm going to come back here, and I am going to go to noise and change the same one as the first one, so tuple, and the same colors, so that is 100, 55 and 30, and second is going to be a little bit darker, so 80, 40 and 20. And then we can go to the specular channel. We can set the height of this to 30, and we want to go to the bump, go to texture, choose noise, set this to 1% strength. I'm going to set the global scale of this to 11, and I'm going to change the noise type to displaced Voronoi. And then we can take this brown material and drop it on the subdivision surface itself. And I'm just going to make a nice material. So 215, 215 and 210. Simple, nice white material. And I'm just going to drag it on the nulls over here. And there we go. So this is our rugby ball. So thank you guys very much for watching this tutorial, and I hope you guys learned something new. And if there are any questions that you would want me to answer, just drop in a comment below in the comment section, and I shall reply back ASAP. So till then, goodbye, and see you in the next tutorial.